no entity will call you to ask you about your personal information.
This particular person was calling me to say that they have sent me some money by
You return it to them.
Yeah.
If you feel someone is suspicious or a fraudster, and he's telling you that we'll block your line if you do not give us this kind of information, tell them to block it.
Hello and welcome back to the Crimeshield Podcast, where we keep it security every day. And today we are talking about matters to do with a little bit of tech, a little bit of fraud. And to help me discuss this topic, I have my long-term friend, rugby teammate, you name it. We come from way back. My friend called Curtis Lilako. Curtis, how are you doing?
Very good.
Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for inviting
Short
me.
notice.
Thanks for the chance, the opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. So for you who've been wondering and probably know Curtis from rugby, you'll get to know that he's, he wears many hats, and today he's gonna help me and the rest of us all to understand more when it comes to how you can be defrauded while transacting online. And he'll tell us more about himself as an analyst and an expert on matters of fraud. He'll be able to advise us on how to be safe when you're online. So Curtis, this won't be an interview. We'll just discuss and just elaborate for us to know how can we get scammed online, especially in the banking. We've heard of a lot of instances where people get scammed over their phones, you name it. Yeah.
Well, we're in a technology age.
Yeah.
I think to now appreciate that fact.
Lazima.
You're moving from a lot of banking and a whole just to over the counter and M-Pesa agents. A lot of us, we're on the move.
Yeah.
So we're transacting, a lot of M-Pesa, a lot of online purchasing and everything. So of course you have given fraudsters an avenue to also try, because kila mahali, even if we walk around on the streets, kila mtu amevaa silver chains and gold chains, it's also an avenue for watu kusnatch. Yeah. So I think moving into the tech space, there are a lot of vulnerabilities. And especially, let's say in Kenya or Africa in general, because I'd say if you compare the rate at which the people who are tech savvy and those who are not tech savvy, it's also high. So being in a position to be scammed is very easy. Yeah, I think as Kenyans at times we can say we are very gullible, not even in terms of tech, but just generally. Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of people, especially they target. There's a currently they target a certain caliber of people. With this time we're looking at storage of data. Yeah. So our numbers can be found anywhere. You can find people trying to transact from a banking hall, M-Pesa, shopping mall, and these are places where your personal identifiable information (PII) can be found. Yeah. Just as a guideline for the people out there to understand how they can be scammed online. How can they verify that this is the right source of information, or this is the right person I'm talking to? Am I talking to the right vendor when I'm online, or how can they be susceptible to the frauds that go on online? So we've seen a lot of instances, and that's why I see it's critical for us to discuss that.
Yeah, I think for one thing where we try to remind each other, and we know, and these companies keep on reminding us over text, even in the radio, they tell us, especially telcos and banks, no entity will call you to ask you about your personal information. Correct. There's some pieces of information that these companies do not need. For a fact that telcos do not need your PIN, because I don't think there's a company that would want to transact on your behalf. No. So the moment someone calls you to ask your name or ID number, which can easily be gotten, by the way, because again with social media, we put a lot of our information online. I think even myself, if you search my name, there's data you'll see without even me telling you. Those are easily gotten, and that is okay. But the moment someone comes to ask you about your PIN, or sends you codes to tell them that we have sent you a code, could you read it to us? Those are red flags. Because no institution will communicate to you in such kind of a manner. No institution needs to confirm your security questions or your PIN, you know, or even your location. So those are some of the major red flags, because there are these online scam artists who they're doing it. You read nowadays on Twitter. I was actually reading a post as I was coming. There's a guy who was saying he was called by people who said they were from a certain telco. They knew his name, they knew his number, but they gave him a code. Could you kindly read us this code? When he read the code back to them, he could not transact. So as he was trying to change,
phone got frozen.
as he was trying to change his PIN, they spam him with calls so that he doesn't change. But they're actually doing something, and the only thing that he gave them was that security code.
Can you imagine?
And that's the thing. And they always tell guys, if you feel someone is suspicious or a fraudster, and he's telling you that we'll block your line if you do not give us this kind of information, tell them to block it. Because if you have the power to block my line,
what are you waiting for? You're late.
Why do you need my PIN to block my line actually? So those are the kinds of things we are seeing in regarding fraudsters. If someone calls you, listen to what information they're asking from you. What are they actually telling you? You know, because if I went to this telco and I registered with my ID and they already have that information, why would they call me again to confirm? You know. Secondly, what I'm also seeing a lot of us putting ourselves in vulnerability is using public Wi-Fi at the airport, at a restaurant, and then you're on public Wi-Fi and you're busy loading your Visa, your credit card to buy another item elsewhere. Being a public Wi-Fi, you don't know who else is accessing the Wi-Fi. They can actually just, you know, key in your keystrokes as you're putting in your PIN or your credit card details or anything. We put ourselves at a very dangerous spot while we do that. So let's not, I usually tell guys, do not transact over a public Wi-Fi. Do not buy things online over public Wi-Fi. Put yourself at a very great risk.
Free things are very expensive.
Very expensive. It's a true thing.
I've also at some point, you know, somebody tried to scam me via the phone, and it's a common way that they use. And this particular person was calling me to say that they have sent me some money by
you return it to them.
He called himself a funny name, I don't want to mention it. So it so happened that I was with my peers and you know, I put him on speaker. So I let this guy talk and talk. He's saying the way that the money that he had sent to me was meant for the wife, and the wife is in hospital, you know, trying to use emotions to lure me into the trap. So me, I don't usually give them, you know, free space to talk. So I just asked them, are you done? Okay. The same way you sent me, just tell the same telco vendor to reverse. So make it easier for yourself. So if indeed you send me, then tell that vendor to
I will not take the money.
I will not take the money. Just tell them to reverse. And one thing that I've come to realize that for these people who send you, you know, messages that purport to be from a certain telco company, case in point in Kenya, we normally use M-Pesa. So they send you an M-Pesa message, and this is just a message. You need to look at where that message is coming from.
Who has sent the message.
Sometimes we get so busy doing a lot of things, we tend to forget to look at the nitty-gritty. So for you out there, when you're being sent a message and you know closely, you know, shortly after you're being called by a number, just confirm, is indeed this message coming from that particular vendor, or is it a message that is coming from a particular number, someone's number? And that is the mistake that people usually make. In my case, I just, you know, I stop them. I just tell them reverse.
And you see, it also happens because a lot of scams we see now, you know, a lot of social engineering we see, and you see the fraudsters know that we are vulnerable and we are gullible, and you know, who does not want money? So if I can just send you a message, say I've sent you 50,000, just you can take 10 and return 40, like, hey, 10,000. Sometimes people end up sending their own money.
money.
But it's because of the vulnerability. We do not, sometimes we trust too much. Hataki kuangalia hiyo extra step venye unasema, the nitty-gritties. And fraudsters have perfected that art. It's like they're using the emotional aspect. Na watatumia either emotional ama on the flip side to excite you. You're back in a 10k, nirudishie 40. So they know the things they do. I think something else I'd also want to mention, now just generally, let's say, some of us are family people, or we have people close to us. Who has your phone? Who is in contact, easily contact with your phone? When, let's say, you're at the house chilling, who else can touch your phone? And what do they know about your phone? Do they know your PIN? I know sometimes we have parents who trust us so much. They give you the phone. But now what happens tomorrow when you haven't given me the phone and I need to buy something for myself? I will go buy. Also just need to be, and I'm not saying that don't trust your kids. No,
but as an extra layer, it's true what
it's because you see that's also fraud. But it's just fraud by someone how often are you around your phone? So what happens with your phone when you're not with it? Because you see, even now you hear cases, again, I was also reading, someone comes, maybe you're in town, someone comes to you, tells you, hey, my phone is dying, nisaidie simu yako, kuna emergency. But you don't know what they are planning then. Maybe they are planning to rob someone. They are planning to kidnap someone. So when tracing is done, your phone was the last one to be used. You see, those are all vulnerabilities.
End up in trouble.
And then, and you see, I don't know, people always equate fraud to just money. It is not just money, even data. And that's why you see sometimes you get people are calling you and you're saying, I did not give you my number. People go even to the extent to even go to wines and spirits. The more M-Pesa transactions are done, even in those wines and spirits, someone will come and buy that book. That is data. So data can be gotten anywhere. So you just need to be wary of where you share information, how you share information. Protect yourself. I usually tell guys, at times it's good to be afraid. Be afraid of some things. When you're afraid, you're cautious. So caution always comes first. Protect yourself first, and then everything else follows.
They say that data is the modern day oil.
True. Very true.
It's true because people can, do anything to get data, and more so with the PII, personally identifiable information, which is very critical. It's upon us to know how to, mitigate ourselves from the scammers out there. I've had a scenario whereby due to the frequency, the story you're talking about a family setting where the parent sends the children to go and transact on their behalf, and you find that they can be very gullible at the point of transaction, in the sense that by just adding an extra zero. And probably you in your account you have that threshold of
that extra zero.
And you can end up being at a loss. I've seen many telco companies adding an extra layer, in the sense of the getting the statements. How often do people check their statements just to look at how their expenses are and where did they spend their money? We've had instances where online shopping, you find people are they're swindled over their money simply because they are interested in buying an item that probably looks cheap, and they haven't verified from the particular source that they want to buy from. So it is important for all of us, when we are leaving our phones with the people who have access to it, we need to put some level of protection, in the sense that be there and be observant. If necessary, make that transaction yourself. And for the vendors out there, it's important for them also to take a leap and an extra step of protecting the kind of information that they give us. You've talked about people who at the liquor stores where your data is. These are places where you can easily access. There are also mobile vendors who transact on behalf of corporates and other customers, things like that. How often can you be able to validate that kind of vendor, because we've heard of the SIM swap fraud. It was trending. I don't know if you've heard of it before. And
I've encountered a few instances where that thing happens. But you see, most of it, again, it all boils down to what information are you giving a fraudster. You know, because in most cases they will ask you for your PIN. They'll ask you for some personal information. Because all they need is a PIN. You know what I say? Even when you go now to change your SIM card, that is what a swap is. A swap is not a fancy word for something.
It's just changing.
It's just changing. You know, swap is changing. So the reason why they ask for your PIN is when they go change that line, they can put in the PIN and transact on your wallet. That is the only reason. So do not fall victim to whatever words or threats, or you know, sometimes they use very nice language and they convince you that they are an actual institution. But all of that is phishing for that personal information. Once they have the personal information, and you hear most instances they tell you, and then they told me to switch off my phone. So when the phone is off,
they're working at the back end
to switch the SIM card. That's all. It's all about, again, protect yourself. Don't give out this information.
Wow. This is a topic that we can talk until I like to put it this way, until the cows come back from grazing. So it's quite important for all of us to take note and stay woke when you're out there. It was quite an interesting topic, and I'm sure we'll be able to dive again into this topic
anytime. Sure.
And that's it from all of us. Keep it Crimeshield. Remember to subscribe, like, share. Whatever information that you think was useful, please put it down in the comment section. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Keep it Crimeshield. See you next time.